What is going on, you guys? This video is going to change thousands of people's lives, so please pay attention. All right, guys, so we're going to dig deep on this. So this is the Black Feather Fitness Game Changer program, where we're going to transform your body with proven results, with real deal results, with my 180 to 360 day game changer plan that helps men and women achieve their fitness goals with custom plans that fit your lifestyle. Okay? The game changer promise. We're going to lose fat. We're going to get rid of the love handles, get the back fat out of there, belly gut. We're going to address all that with a real approach, okay? We're not going to mess around with that. So this is going to be for you. We're going to build muscle. We're going to develop your physique with working out at least 4 to 5 hours we need to get in the gym, okay? That's the key here. We have to make it into the gym for at least 4 to 5 hours a week. That's the plan. Custom plans. Now, everyone gets a personalized program, and it's to fit your lifestyle. So depending on who you are as a person, you could be a dad, a mom, an executive, whatever your position is. We're going to try to fit into your busy schedule to make it work. We're really trying to just manage time so that you can succeed. And this is why I guarantee results, because if you follow the plan and you don't deviate, you'll drop weight, okay, in the next 6 to 12 months, basically. And it'll be significant depending on where you are. And you'll also build muscle during this portion of the time. And you'll also feel better. You'll have more energy. And I will guarantee you this because it's pretty much tried and true. And if you do not get the results that you're really looking for, I will give you a refund, but it's almost impossible. So you will get there if you follow my program. Okay. So here's one of my clients that we started out with. He was almost like 220, 230 pounds. His name was Omar. When I got Omar, basically he approached me for my program. He was kind of in a difficult place, and we needed to really kind of address his weaknesses and everything he was going through. But I can tell you, after the first month of being in my program, he really stepped it up, I can tell you. And basically, like, he just became a whole different person within the first like 2 to 3 months. And he was putting in the work. And as you can see, he had a significant change upon himself. And this is probably like at the 7th to 8th month, I would say, where he's definitely looking a lot more confident and serious in his approach. Now, I know he was happy in the picture, but trust me, when we had a call, he was not happy with the way things were going. So, trust me, he's much happier now, even though he looks more serious. Trust me, he's taking more selfies and videos than you could ever imagine. And yeah, so we're gonna gain muscle. We're gonna focus on that, and we're gonna burn fat, because when you build muscle, you burn more fat. So that's the idea, is to have a nutrition plan to really put on as much muscle as we can over a period of time. Now, if you're natural, it does take a little bit longer, but you will build muscle. And working out in general with more intensity will also help you burn more calories. So consider that, okay? Now, we want to have our confidence up at the end of this too. So we're trying to transform you from a person who, it is more to a person who's really confident about what they see in the mirror. It's not about impressing people. It's about feeling good about yourself. That's kind of the goal here, to change your life and know that you're empowered to really, make yourself who you want to be, so to speak. Okay, so going forward. So here's me looking all over the place here. So as you can see, this picture, the first picture here, guys, I'm pretty cut up. I'm in a studio at my gym, and I think this was like last summer. And I basically, was peeled to the bone for the most part. And this is what I call the anyone can achieve look, almost, provided you get in shape enough, you lose the weight. And this is with PEDs. I am having a little bit of enhancement here because no one can really, it's just that you can get like naturally a six pack. You can get plenty of good muscle. It's just to have that crisp look that I'm kind of achieving here, you need a little bit of help, okay? So in this second picture of me, you can see I was a lot more bulkier. And this is really to prove that you can really change your physique. I mean, look at the difference. Like cut up and dry, and then you have me a little bit more bigger, a little bit holding more water. I'm definitely in a bulking phase here. And then this was one of my cuts. You know, I'm definitely pretty chopped up there. Probably one of my best ones that I like to do. You know, I like this look. It's for me, guys. So, you know, you might like a bigger look, but it's all doable. And there's just me in the studio again. Similar look, just a little bit at a different phase, I would say. And, you know, now going down, as you can see, this was Omar, right? And this is what I want to kind of say here, guys. Like, so he started like this. We chopped him up. As you can see, his, you know, this is, you got to remember, when you're at this weight, guys, it takes a little bit of time to really develop a body, okay? It's not like overnight. If you're taking PEDs, it totally accelerates it, all right, to an extreme. But you got to understand there's a reality to this as well. So, but you can really see the difference in only like about 6 to 8 months where we're at right here. So we chopped him up. You know, his back's much better looking. His belly's in more. His chest is more flat, like from before we had more sagging going on here. And, you know, and then here's kind of like the result, like kind of what I mean by mindset and, you know, changing things. Like, here's me in my crappy mirror at my house, right, that I had. I got to get a new one. And you see me, I'm fitting well in clothes. You know, that's my confident look, I guess, whatever. And, you know, here we are with him. And this was a picture that he sent me. And I said, oh, well, there we go. Now we know we're on the right track. He's feeling pretty good about himself. So, you know, this is what I'm saying, guys. Like, do you see the flow of this? Like, you go from in shape to dressing nice and looking good in clothes. And it's for everyone. It's not just like certain people. You can do this, okay? So, all right, let's move on. So there's no guesswork, just results, all right? So we're looking for real guidance, okay? And that's where I come in. I've been doing this a long time. I really know how to make things happen. As you can see, I can do it to myself. That means you can apply it to other people. There's really no secret here, guys. It's just straight up guidance and knowledge. And I've been a bookworm, and I've had the right people in my life that really showed me the way. And I paid tons of money to learn this stuff too. So you're not getting the guy at the gym with the little clipboard, okay? I've been around. So we're gonna cut through the BS, so to speak, okay? No fad diets, we're not doing that, okay? We're doing real dieting, real nutrition. You know, fad diets are fads. It's like a trend. They come and go, all right? We want permanent. We don't want trends, okay? So you got to listen to me on that one, all right? And we want consistent progress. We need to be focused, and we need to track your transformation, how it's going, and measure the results each week. So that's why we monitor. We check the weight. We take progress pictures. We got to see where you are on a weekly basis, and we need to address anything that might be stopping you. That's an outside influence, okay? Moving on. Excuse me. So the starting point, Omar began with a significant, he had significant weight to lose and doubts about his success, okay? But his commitment, I'll tell you, this guy was a monster when it came to commitment, especially after the 3rd month, I'm telling you. He followed the program exactly as prescribed and putting in consistent work. So you can see here, he's got his game face on, okay? He ain't fooling around, all right? That's the mentality of the program. When you see results coming, you want it. That right there, my friends, is a hungry look in a man, okay? He wants something to happen. So, you know, awesome for him. So here we go. In about 7 months, Omar achieved remarkable results completely naturally, okay? Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, he wants to do the other stuff. He's just not there yet, okay? He wants to do that. He's very close to doing that, and he still is in communication with me. So I don't know what we're going to do yet, but I'm hoping that, you know, it'd be fun and exciting to really see this guy all looking crazy, okay? So let's move on. Who is this program for, okay? This is for people who want to lose fat, okay? People wanting to burn fat, transform their physique. Dedicated individuals. We want dedicated people here, guys. We don't want people who are just going to, you know, attempt. We want people who can push through and get to the finish line, okay? We're not fooling around in this program. So People willing to put in the time and consistent effort. Okay. That means your time is valuable. So is mine. And together we're going to make things happen. Okay. So we really need people who are looking for the results. You know, you got to be hungry, like the guy I just showed you. So, muscle builders. Now, this is for everybody, of course. You know, people want to develop quality muscle and strength, or people. So basically, if we want to get you in shape and we want you to build some muscle so you look good, especially if you're a man or a woman, you know, women obviously want to be more toned, and men want to have some development, you know, bigger biceps and stuff, and you know, more definition. Okay, and that can be achieved, especially enhanced. Okay, so I'm so confident, honestly, guys, with the enhanced stuff for men. I know I can make any man like amazing, and there's a lot of stuff I can show the women that they can do if they really want to and opt into that. That will definitely help their progress. But men are a little bit easier because men have more options, unfortunately, when it comes to the hormones and stuff like that. So, you know, it's just how it goes. Okay, so mindset. Individuals ready to transform both their body and mindset. Okay, moving forward here. So, who's not for this? Okay, people are in the party lifestyle. Okay, you do not do this program if you're a party dude or a party woman doing any type of recreational stuff. You know, things that are dangerous, especially when you're mixing them with other things that could help you burn fat and other things like that. Okay, we do not play around here. You know, I take this very serious, people's, you know, health and lives, and we do not party. Okay, we do not drink, or we drink with responsibility if we do, and with permission, depending on what you're doing. Okay, so this is not for people to build an ego. Okay, especially with PED use. Okay, a lot of people, they get, you know, the enhancement stuff, and then they start thinking they're better than people and whatever. That's not what this is about, guys. This is about just being happy with yourself. We're not trying to make people feel like they're not as good as you. Okay, so that's not this. And people who are resistant to guidance, people who like have to be able to, like, because you know what happens, a lot of people today, they come for help and then they think they have all the answers. Then why are you coming for help? Okay, you're here because you need help and you need guidance. So put that aside. You know, like drop the ego, right? And you know, follow the guidance so you can actually be happy. Okay. So the truth about fitness, the industry reality. Okay, I'm going to tell you about this. The fitness industry isn't always designed to help you succeed. If everyone reached their goals, supplement companies would lose business. Okay. And what I mean by this, though, is really a lot of programs out there, you know, even like Weight Watchers and such, you know, they come out with these programs and they tell you, you know, there's a point system, and, you know, technically they're kind of giving you some advice. But the real issue here, guys, is that, you know, not all calories are equal. So even if you were to do something that, say, was like less points, you're still causing problems that would uh, slow down your progress. Okay, what they do is the way I see Weight Watchers is they if you're overweight, they say, well, have a lesser of bad food and not teach you the right way so you can really get to the good results. And ultimately, you slow down progress or you don't stay on it because eventually the results like they stop on you, okay, or they slow down, and then their system, no one's holding your hand there because you're going by the point system, and you know there's no one there to really give you the, you know, the why did you cheat or why on your meal, or you know, or why aren't you following your calorie amounts every week. You know, like it's kind of there, but it's not really like there, if that makes any sense. So I hope that kind of, you know, and also the you know, nutrition stores in general, they're there just to sell you. You know, there are some stuff in there, but you know, they're, how do I put it? Like the nutrition stores, or you know, there's some good stuff in there, but ultimately they're just trying to make money, guys. And if you're eating the right foods, you don't need a lot of that. So real success for me. The truth the true path to results lies in consistent work ethic, discipline, daily commitment, proper nutrition, and training is what delivers transformation. Okay. So we want to really follow this formula. Okay. We're not looking for anything outside of that, so to speak. All right. So why people fall off track? They don't have a plan. All right. They go on forums, they go on, Facebook groups, all that stuff. They ask people and everybody tells them a different story. I've been in the gym, guys, and, I've seen people ask, other people for advice right in front of me. And one person recommended them like walnuts or something. And he says, I eat these, I snack on these at night. Oh, good. Well, that's why you're still fat, because I can see your gut, because he's eating too much fat in his diet. And, he's claiming because it's healthy doesn't mean it actually will achieve your goal. So, you really need to have a structured plan that actually makes results and just don't have guesswork. Okay. So poor nutrition, okay, inconsistent and improper eating habits sabotage your progress. Guys, you could do such a good job all week, and 1 or 2 meals outside of your program could set you behind. Okay. And then you have to really hone in on, following a plan and being dedicated to it. Okay. The whole point is to, bring you out of that and just put you down the right road. Okay. Ineffective exercise. Now, this is a huge one. When I go to the gym, I see people using way too lightweight on certain exercises, and some of them are too heavy and they're not even doing the right form, and they're using the wrong body parts to even move the weight, instead of like focusing on the correct muscle. There's a lot of training mistakes I see people do that really are probably why they're looking the way they look or not getting the results they're looking for. Information overload. And I kind of touched on this, but there's information everywhere. It's in books, it's on the internet, it's in forums, it's around people, groups, whatever. That's why everybody honestly has trouble, I think, because they don't understand it takes time, and if they don't see the results coming as fast as they want, I think they just either fall off or try the next thing or something like that. So yeah, we got to eliminate bad habits. Excuse me. We want to basically, we want to get rid of beliefs that are hurting us. Okay. And we want to basically eliminate all the things that are holding you back. So to really get to the best version of yourself, okay, and understanding the science and learning how fitness truly works, okay, and rebuilding your mindset and eliminating, I can't from your vocabulary, okay? So if you're a person who's in like disbelief and you're thinking, can this work? Will it work? Well, I'm telling you something. If you're on PEDs, it does work. That's number one. And number two, calories in, calories out, the right foods, proper nutrition plan and training, things always happen, okay? You know why? Because the body adapts to what you do, okay? You ever see a person that smokes a lot of crap, like weed and stuff, they get like kind of like sluggish and stuff for the, well, you are what you do, okay? So you put in the right nutrition, you get the right stuff. It's just how it goes, okay? We just kind of keep it like that. All right, so now, my fitness journey, can't talk anymore. So, early influence, okay? I grew up, this is about me, all right? So I grew up in an American-Italian family with a strict upbringing and a strong work ethic from my father, okay? Like when I tell you I was like army raised, like, I want you outside in 3 minutes, I was outside in 3 minutes, or else it was like, you were going to hear it. So I know, how to follow like discipline because I was asked to do a lot of stuff when I was a kid and really pushed, okay? So, having a strict father really helped build me and kind of make me, well, that's why I'm kind of where I am, because I'm so used to routine and I'm used to, difficulty and, challenges, so to speak, and just having, just a strong upbringing, I guess you could say. So My fitness inspiration. When I was 16, I watched the movie Pumpin' Iron. I'm sure a lot of people heard of it. And, it was a real eye opener for me. And when I saw Arnold, Lou Ferrigno, and some of the other guys in there, I was just like, dude, that's me. I want that. I need that. Right. Because it's like Hercules, Conan the Barbarian. I grew up on all that crap. So, this was me. And, I really resonated with that. And ever since that day, that's kind of how it kind of sparked and how it kind of began. So basically, I spent years researching fitness while working in the corporate world. I had a family that was a bunch of very corporate-y people, you might say. And, they got me into it. I am a businessman. I'm really good at my business life too. But it wasn't my passion. It's just like I'm talented because my parents had that kind of a mind. So it just worked for me. Okay. So, but so to speak is, I did a lot of researching. Okay. So I was on forums. I was talking to so many people. I was trying to get all the secrets to this whole fitness thing. And, I'd be looking in the back of magazines, trying to find like all the stuff where people were getting all this stuff to look cool and big and all this stuff. And, I hung out on forums for a long time, trying to pick people's brains, trying to figure out the truth. Learned a lot, but also learned a lot of it's not good either. Like a lot of forums will misguide and try to sell you things you really don't need, so to speak, for building muscle and all this stuff. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword when you're researching on forums. And then ultimately what happened was, I would say I started really investing with some gurus because there's no better knowledge than learning from, the people who are on top. And that's when I really, took, you saw my pictures. I started taking my body to a really good level because now I know. And the funny part is too, guys, is that I actually know like what the pros do, but I won't do it because it's too much health risk. I just, I do things for people who I kind of have an idea what they want. It's about just being not average, so to speak, but just above average, if that makes sense. But we're not trying to put someone on stage, 300 pounds or something like that. That's a little extreme, and it's a lot of stress on your body. That's not for most people. We're trying to make people look good for the beach, for themselves, for clothes. Maybe be a little bit bigger if you're into bodybuilding. You don't have to get huge. You can do things, within reason and keep your health, keep your blood pressure good. And we don't want to, hurt our longevity in the process. That's why bodybuilders, like the top guys, if you're into fitness and follow it, they only get a 10-year, run usually because it's too much stress on their bodies. All the stuff they have to, at that end, it's more abuse than use, in my opinion. And I don't agree with it for the most people who are just trying to live the lifestyle. Okay. Those guys are under pressure to win money and, that's their livelihood. And this isn't for that. This is to make people look good. Okay. For themselves. And hence, that's when, after becoming a corporate manager, I decided to use, my knowledge and help to help, others achieve, because really, the corporate world just wasn't my thing. It still isn't. I think business is really cool, but I'd rather help people for a living and, make connections and, see people thrive. When I was younger, I was more about myself and, but I was in my growth stage, I was trying to find my way. And now I'm on top, for the most part, where I feel like more humble and I'm in a good place. And now it's about kind of giving back. I spent all that time and money, I'd hate to take it to the grave with me without really doing the world some good. So, that's why I'm here. Let's see okay. So let's see what worked for me. Okay. Simple nutrition, guys. I kept it so simple. I stuck to the classic foods that work. I don't go crazy. I don't try to do fancy. We stick to like the right kind of meats, the lean fish, steak, burger, ground turkey, certain fruits, you know, oats, rice, sweet potato, let's see, white potato, uh, uh, butternut squash, you know, you got your greens, you know, your spinach, asparagus, you know, you stick to what works. Okay. The body knows what to do with the right nutrition. It's the crap that the processed crap that messes up the body. Okay. And I'll get into that further down. Effective exercises. So this is really about, how do I put it? Like just utilizing your time. Okay. Because a lot of people don't know how to work out and they don't know which order to do the workouts in. You know, like if you go into a gym and it's chest day and you're starting on the cable machine, you're already messed up because you're wasting time, you know, burning yourself out for the most effective exercises like incline bench press or something like that. You know what I mean? So we want it that when I see cables, and I might touch on this a little later, you know, it's more of a sculpting exercise. It's about really, it's like a finishing move, so to speak. Okay. Where it's higher reps. It's more like just helping shape the muscle and give it, you know, more blood flow and a good pump and just really pushing, you know, for development. All right. And meal tracking. Now, for me, it's a little different. For most people, they need more help with this. I am so on point with my timing and what I want to eat every day that I'm not there anymore. Like, and as far as portions go, I can eyeball stuff, and you might need to use a food scale. All right, so you don't screw up, and that's why we do that. So we want to monitor our foods, and I will be giving you like a spreadsheet. I have multiple methods. All right, so when I work with a person, guys, I try to figure out like what their way of learning is, and then what I do is I optimize my program to what, you know, kind of works for them in a sense, because some people are visual, some people are like, you know, everybody just has a different way of doing things, but that's why I have a few options when it comes to this. Okay, like you can use apps, you can use spreadsheets. Okay, depends how techy you are, but ultimately you got to track your meals. You have to hit markers every day, and you don't want to go over them. You don't want to go under them. The goal is to just be on point, and that's how we do that. And then we got a balanced schedule. Now, I personally, guys, I liked doing the 3 days a week in the gym, 1 day off. Everybody's different. You know, that was my gig, you know, or sometimes I would do like 3 days, you know, or 3 or 4 days, and then I take a day. And, you know, sometimes it goes by feel. But when we're doing a program, we're trying to just have a system. So we're not trying to, you know, mix things up for most people. We just want something that works, okay? And we want something that's efficient and capable for the person. All right, let's move on. So now, real fitness advice. All right, here we go. So avoid store hype. So a lot of you guys, you go into like these, you know, Vitamin World stores or GNCs, and a lot of times those guys there are just sellers. Okay, they don't have the body, they don't have the, you know, they haven't even put half the work in to be even talking. Okay, they're just guys trying to make a few bucks, and they're trained by their whoever person to kind of sell you on how to, you know, that they go, if a woman comes in and she's trying to look for fat burners, they say sell her this, you know. So, you know, it's all gimmicky stuff, guys. There's a reason those bottles there are very colorful and pretty looking, if you want to call it that. And, you know, you ever hear of placebo? Well, a lot of times someone will go into like a nutrition store and they'll buy like, you know, I don't know, ginseng or something. Who knows, right? And they'll say, take this and you'll get more energy. And then the person like takes it, and then they start working out like an hour later after they take it, and they start thinking, oh, I'm getting this big boost and everything. The truth is it's in your head. A lot of times like these supplements are not what people really are thinking they're getting. And they're, you know, when they have that proprietary blend, it's kind of their way of hiding ingredients. And, you know, it's just not legit, most of it. Okay. To be needed, I should say. Now, are there core things in a nutrition store that can help you? Sure. You know, like I'm a big believer in zinc, magnesium, potassium, you know, D3 vitamins, omega-3s, you know, the fish oils. Those are really great for you. Okay. and there's other things too that I can talk about. But but the thing is that most people aren't really, they're in there. Like when you get like stressed about something, sometimes when you buy something new, it just feels good. That's kind of like the nutrition stuff sometimes with people. Like, oh, they feel like they just did something good when they buy something and walk out of there with those like bottles. But the truth is, guys, is like the results just don't come because they're not, that's not really the answer. All right. That's just like a luxury item that you can add on to yourself as a person. If, that might work. Like creatine's not bad. All right. There's some help and benefits there. But we're talking like real results come from the real food, the training, and everything else. So, just take it for my word, okay? I've wasted more money in nutrition stores now that I know what I know than you can imagine. So, be aware of generic programs, and basically they're like cookie cutter programs and things like that. Like people will just sell you like a flat plan with no adjustments, no hand holding, no no real advice, no kind of like the Weight Watchers. They just kind of let you decide for yourself what's best for you. You just got to understand that this is why there's coaching, because people can't really coach themselves. Okay. And even at the high end, every bodybuilder knows this. Okay. They hire these expensive, you see these bodybuilders and they've been in shape for like years and years and years. And they jump around with coaches and they jump around with, the point is that like what I'm trying to say here, guys, is like, if these guys look the best in the world and they still are getting coaching, there's a reason for that, because they can't judge themselves. They need someone to call the shots, or, when to pull back, when to move forward with certain things, and they can't do them themselves. They need someone to help execute that for them. They just want the guidance. The reason they look so great isn't really because of the knowledge. Sometimes it's because they have the physique and the genetics, they're gifted. There are people that are a little bit more gifted, but you can still pull off things, okay? Even not the best genetic people, all right, with PEDs and natural training. It's just that these guys are the best in the world at what they do, basically, and they need coaches because they can't make judgment calls on themselves, and they have money on the line. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody needs coaching. Even I have my own coach, because sometimes I second guess myself and I want an opinion. So, prioritizing strength training. So that's another big thing here. Is strength training is so amazing. Okay, it's really amazing, and that's because when you do cardio, for the most part, okay, you're burning calories while you're doing it, but once you get off that treadmill and such, it kind of like halts there. Okay, now is it good for your heart? Is it good for everything else? Yeah, but the thing with strength training, and when you're really pushing in strength, is that your body needs to repair the muscle. And what that means is that you're going to have to basically use more energy to recover, which means you burn more calories when you're outside of the gym and recovering, where cardio doesn't really do that for you. Okay, so that's the beauty of strength training. And let's continue here. So the client transformation process. All right, so we're trying to remove guesswork. Nobody wants to have to think about what to do. They just want to know what to do, all right? And that's why the coach helps, that we think for you, you just execute, okay? And by doing this, you'll kind of learn the process anyway, in a sense, for yourself, and what you've been really missing out on, and just how much, what's involved in this process. Because, when I say it's easy in a sense of like, how to do it. It's not easy in a sense of like when to do it, or what, or which way you should start doing it. It's just a really simple process that's actually complex. So that's why, you have a coach to guide you. Now, constant monitoring. Now, the point of this really is to, look over you. We do check-ins, okay? Once a week, we'll do a check-in, and we'll be in touch throughout the week. You'll be able to talk to me. But the real one-on-one is when we go over like, what we should do for you, how you're feeling, is your energy good? You got to really tell me what's up. okay? Because I want to know how you feel, if there's any, you're sleeping good, you know, because everything matters to your progress. So this is where the communication comes in, okay? It's a team effort. It's not just like, you know, I wave a magic wand and you're going to be like perfect, okay? You have to put in the work. You have to communicate well. And it's really, you know, up to you, okay? And we're going to implement nutrition. We'll figure out what foods work for you. If you have any allergies, you know, how your digestion is with certain foods. You know, does it give you discomfort in your stomach? And we'll put those in the right calories and in the proper macros and adjust them accordingly, because that's where the results really come from. It's from making the right adjustments with the right nutrition and manipulating the body, okay? And like I said, effective training, we kind of touched on that a little bit, but we have to use exercises that help burn fat, okay? That's how the programs are going to be designed. All right. Client struggles that we address, okay? So we understand challenges of starting fitness, you know, managing meals and finding time for workouts and tracking calories. Our program addresses that common struggle, okay? So just a little touch on this is basically like, we're going to diagnose you, okay? I'm going to talk to you. We're going to see like what challenges you might face when trying to start up and where you are, because you might know a little bit of gym workouts. You might have been in the gym, and if you're new to this, you might need more guidance. So we're going to really go dive deep and really help you with your time management, with your meal prepping, with your, you know, anything that could be in your way, okay? We're going to work to alleviate that. No, excuse me, I need a little bit of water here. All right. Now I know why they do this when they're speeching all the time. All right, so now, okay. Understanding your struggles, okay? So you may have tried other coaches who showed you the machines with no results. Now, I get this big because I know there's a lot of coaches in gyms that they don't really, you know, I've talked to them and they show people the machines, you know, they help them out, but that's, honest to God, that's not even a real coach. You know what the real coach is? Well, that's no different from the guy working behind the desk that can show you where like the Smith machine is. All right. Real coaches will monitor you like through weeks and months. And if you're just paying for like a coach who's like once a week, or like how do I put this, guys? Like anything less than a month that you're working with him, he's not coaching you. He's just giving you a few tips, okay? Coaching is very involved, and that's where you might have seen failure, okay? And then there's, you know, field programs here. You know, like I said, Weight Watchers, I know people who are on that thing for like 20, I feel like it's been 20 years because I'm getting old, but like they've been on Weight Watchers and other things and tried this and try that. But it's all gimmicky stuff because there's no accountability. No one's, you know, calling them up, hey, did you finish your last meal, when they don't see it like logged in or something like that, you know? Or, you know, why are you eating like Burger King when you're supposed to eat this? Or, you know, it's what I'm saying. Like there's no accountability, okay? Someone has to make sure that you don't slip, all right? And if they're not yet like giving you that tough love that you need to succeed, then you're never going to succeed, okay? Because tough love is what really pushes people to the right direction, okay? So, and then plateaus, okay? So you could be training hard, but, you know, still stuck without progress. And this might have been something you were dealing with previously. And that's why, you know, I see people at the gym who've been training every like 4 days a week maybe, and they haven't changed too much. It's because what they're doing outside the gym is probably really the problem behind that. Because if you're putting in the work in the gym and you're, you know, using a fair amount of intensity, even, you should be dropping weight. So if the gym's fine, it's usually something outside of the gym that's hurting them. Okay, so let's just address that there. Excuse me. And other plateaus could be like, you know, if you're a guy and you're older and you're not, you know, lifting like you used to be, you might be hormonally deficient and you might need a little TRT to boost you up, bro. Meaning like, you know, you got to get your muscle building hormones back in line. So You might have to consider that. You know, that's the honest to God truth. For losing weight, not so much, but for, you know, having the nice physique that you're looking for, probably. You know, I mean, you know, to really polish you up for your age and stuff, if you're in your 40s and 50s. Because after age 30, you know, I believe every man should be on some form of a replacement. But, you know, the doctors today, I hate to say it, but they're not on your side, bro. They're just on the whatever they can deal with in the insurance. So, yeah. So, chronic weight loss issues. So perhaps you've been overweight for years and feel skeptical. I can't talk. Skeptical about change. All right. So maybe you've been stuck like that, and you're like thinking, you know, if it was since high school, it's not possible. Well, trust me, I've seen more people transform than you can imagine. And, you know, you probably just have been not fully as dedicated to a real plan as you think you might have been. Most people haven't. And yeah, I would just lay it there. You know, results speak for themselves. Okay. So moving on. So science and nutrition. Okay. So, excuse me. So everything is protein, carbs, and fats. Okay. And that's really the breakdown of this. And, you know, this is just an example where on a 2,000 calorie diet, you know, we might break it down to 40% protein, 30% carbs, 30% fats. And what you got to understand is, like, they're not all equal in calories. So like protein and carbs are like 4 calories per gram, and like fats are like 9, basically. So even though the percentages are similar, they are completely different in their calorie amounts. Okay, that's why fats really have to be tamed down, because we don't really need that many of them, honestly. We just need enough for proper hormone production, and then we kind of cap that. And then we want to make sure our protein is in a good place. And we kind of play around with the carbs more. So, or we might increase the protein when we're lowering the carbs, depending on where we're at and what we're trying to do. So, okay. Workout framework. All right. So we got a beginner phase, a transition phase, a progressive phase, and a refinement phase. So if you're a beginner, we're going to start with the machines. Okay. And for 1 month, and then build a foundation. This is basically to prevent injury. Okay, it's to prevent injury, and it's basically to make sure that your body's ready. Because if you ever gone into a gym and you've tried hard because you think you can curl some dumbbells, you might find the next day that your arm, you can't bend it. It's because you weren't ready for that. Okay. I like to use machines and some lighter weights in the beginning if you haven't been in the gym in weeks and months, because it's going to prime you for better lifting. Okay. And we don't want to go in. The last thing we want is to start a program here, guys, and to get injured in the beginning and pull something or rip something. You know, we're not trying to do that here. We're trying to make progress. So the transition phase is, like I said, once you get comfortable and, you know, the machines aren't bothering your arms, or you're curling, you know, weights that don't mess up your ability to extend your arm. Because if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, you have to warm up those muscles and everything else. And basically, we incorporate free weights with higher rep ranges in the start. And this is just basically to help you build form and, you know, just get comfortable with the exercises. Okay. And then the progressive phase, we increase weight while maintaining proper form and technique. So like I said, we're going to slowly build up the weights so that you have the proper form and the right foundation for yourself to succeed in this. And then the refinement phase is we focus on body parts and exercises that need improvement. So overall, we try to increase the weights, you know, to a healthy amount. And then we want to see what exercises you're not performing well in, if you're having any difficulties. Okay. So let's move on here. So the 10 phase program. Okay. So basically, phase 1 to 3, we're going to establish the workout schedule, nutrition plan, and starting point. Okay. 4 to 6, we're going to monitor your progress, adjust your nutrition, and troubleshoot any plateaus. All right. And then phases 7 to 10, we're going to maintain momentum, implement lifestyle habits. And this might be like, make sure you're very well hydrated, taking proper nutrition, supplementation. It could be vitamins, could be anything. We're going to talk about that as we go. And we're going to push for results. All right. I'm going to keep on top of you. All right. I'm going to check in, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Not giving you any excuses for yourself. All right. Because I got to hold you accountable. So we're going to push, so to speak. All right. Why people fail in the gym. Okay. They're doing the same workouts without increasing the difficulty. That's number one. Like I said, some people go in and they stick to 30-pound weights for their whole time, whatever they like, because they don't want to push themselves. They just want what feels good, you know? And sometimes just getting a pump, you know, isn't enough. Now, if you want to just be like lean and tone, sure, go for it. You can still lose weight, but if we're really trying to make something happen here, you need to be pushing yourself, okay? And you should always be trying to move up. And I mean, depending on where you are and who you are, man or a woman, you know, your strength levels, and if you're on PEDs or whatever, you just got to know what you're doing at that point. So, distractions. You know, the one thing that burns me is when I go into a gym, these younger guys, I'm telling you, they're scrolling through their phones too much, and they're spending too much time answering text messages and doing all this, you know, just sitting around stuff. Sometimes they hog machines and things. You know, don't let that be you. Okay, you gotta put in the work. You know, their phone should be on silent unless you're following the program, which you probably need your phone. But it shouldn't be it should be like do not disturb. Okay, you're supposed to be training. We're training here. You know, this is your personal commitment to yourself. And we don't want distractions like people texting you and you taking too long in between sets. Because the longer you take in between sets, if you're going outside of your workout window, it's also not helping your recovery time, so to speak. Because the more the less you rest between sets and your body gets used to that, the better it performs at doing that, okay? So we're trying to increase intensity in that sort of a sense, all right? Poor nutrition timing. So pre and post workout meals affecting performance. Okay. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that some people aren't taking the right pre and post workout meals. They're eating either too much fat in their pre-workout, and they're not eating enough proper nutrition in their post-workout, or they might just be having a shake and no more meals after. They might need, you know, the thing is that we don't want a lot of fat in our pre-workout. We really just want like a simple carb to really help fuel the workout. I personally just like white rice either an hour before the 2 hours. Unless you're doing like an intro workout, which is a little bit more advanced for most people that kind of understand, where there's carbs in a drink and you're kind of sipping on it as well. So that it's kind of dependent on the person and their program design. Okay. So PED misconceptions. Okay. Thinking supplements alone will do the work without proper training. Now, if you're on PEDs and you kind of do stuff, yeah, you might get a little something, but you're not going to get what you're really looking for. Okay. You have to pretend you're not on anything because and they work on the food. Okay. It's like having an army, but if you don't have the food to feed the army, nothing happens. Okay. So yeah. Workout structure and design. So exercise order matters. Okay. You start with compound movements that require the most energy, like bench press, before moving to isolation exercises like cable flies, okay? Now, the approach maximizes strength for the most demanding exercises and optimizes muscle stimulation, okay? So, a well-structured chest day begins with incline barbell press, followed by flat dumbbell press, and then move to isolation exercises like pec deck and cable crossovers, okay? All right. So that's what we're looking for, okay? The right, setup. So training intensity benefits. So we get muscle growth from it. High intensity creates overload necessary to trigger uh, hypertrophy and muscular adaptation. You know, like I said, the body adapts, guys, and that's why it's so important to really hone in on this. The body adjusts. That's why we have to push it. Okay, time efficiency. We kind of touched on this. Intense sessions deliver more results in less time, no wasted reps or sets. So we want to be moving. We want to get things done so that you can have your hour, okay, and get to it, you know, and then go home and, you know, eat your meal and do what you got to do, and then you go to bed. So, and then enhance fat loss, okay? More intensity equals more post-exercise calorie burn, like I kind of stated. Accelerates fat loss even after the workout ends, okay? So, whole foods versus processed foods. Here's a good one for you, and I'm gonna need a drink for this. I'm sorry, it's getting long here. Okay. The whole foods versus processed foods, okay? The benefits of whole foods, all right? Gradual blood sugar rise, okay? So we're not spiking our blood sugar up like crazy, okay? This is one of the biggest things when it comes to insulin, because we want insulin to be regulated, okay? We don't want it spiked really high because it's not as good for fat burning, okay? And losing weight, all right? Better satiety signals, meaning, I always say it bad, but it's basically meaning your body feels full when you eat whole foods, okay? It feels nutrient, it feels like it got what it needed, okay? So have you ever eaten a meal and, like, say you ate a meal and, you know, it's like it was a pretty good sized meal, but you still, like, an hour later were hungry. Sometimes it's because the body got full, but it didn't get what it wanted. So you might have fed your body, but it didn't feed it the right nutrition that it's really craving. So it's like at it again. All right. So that's kind of what that is. So, all right. So higher thermic effect. What this means really is that when you eat whole foods, you burn more calories off this. Okay. Your body takes more time to process it because it's especially where it's nutrient like dense. And like think of like you know, chicken or something. Like when you eat chicken, it's or any protein like a steak that is sitting in your stomach for quite some time, and it takes calories to really digest that. So the thing is that when you eat something that's like not so good for you, sometimes that's processed, it digests much faster, okay, and it uses less time to really, um, you know, to stay in the stomach and actually cause the digestion to take a little bit longer, uh, and because it's energy to do things, okay, and that's what the whole calories are. You know, it's like when you recover from the gym, you know, you work out hard and do your strength training and you're burning calories to recover. It's kind of like the same thing when, you know, you eat whole foods in a sense where it takes more calories to digest it. Okay. Okay. Anti-inflammatory properties. Now, you want to think of things like berries, like salmon, like certain types of nuts, oats, like fiber. All these combined, you know, berries have antioxidants. Salmon has healthy fats like omega 3s, which help with inflammation. You know, like olive oil. Okay. Um, you know, certain types of, you know, nuts have healthy fats as well. And all this helps with inflammation and keeping things in the body good. Okay. So when it comes to rich in micronutrients, what it means really here is that when you eat food that's whole, you're getting all the benefits, like all the benefits. Every little piece, drop of that food has, you know, antioxidants, fiber, you know, vitamins, everything you can imagine. And it's, you know, like basically per bite. Okay. So when we talk about like, you know, poor quality nutrition, like density, just to touch on that, it's like when something's like processed, it's basically giving you like filler calories, like so like refined sugars, bad oils, different types of maybe fats or something in there. It's just they're trying to fill in the blank to make something, and it's not like calories that are beneficial calories. It's calories, but the calories that you're getting have no nutrient quality to them. Okay, it's just calories, and all it's doing is making you fat and not getting any benefit from them. Okay. All right. So processed food problems. Okay. Blood sugar spikes. Now, when we eat food, like real food, the good food, okay, our body really knows what it's doing. And what it means is like it knows how much insulin from your pancreas to really make to digest that type of food. Okay. When you're dealing with processed foods, it kind of like is a big mess for your body to figure out because it's not natural. And what this can do is it can increase the amount of insulin being produced because not only, you know, does it spike your insulin because it's hard for your body to figure out. It also will increase your hunger hormones. All right, and that is because your your nutrients also in it isn't that good. So your body's still craving stuff that it's not getting. So you're pretty much giving something very empty yet filling to your body, but it's not meeting the nutritional needs of your body. And what happens is when you eat a lot of processed food, your insulin stays very high and more produced than needed. And what this does is, like when you go to the doctor and you get blood work done, you might have like a high A1C because your eating habits are very poor. You're eating too much like, processed sugar, things that are really pushing your pancreas to work harder throughout, the 90-day period, which that basically covers. And, you know, this is why it's so important to switch to whole foods because we don't want our blood sugar doing like crazy. We want it doing normal and stable. And we don't want excess insulin in our body floating around. We want just enough to cover the food nutrition and store the nutrition in our body for digestion and everything else. So that's very important. And that's why processed foods are very bad for you. Okay, guys, so lower calorie burning during digestion. So we have to think of it like this, like your body is a filter, okay? And if you were to just put water into a filter, right, it would go right through because water is very easy to move through things, all right? It goes through cracks and everything you can imagine, okay? Now, that's basically what a processed food is. It's like a very simple type of food that goes right through really fast and it hits your body really hard because it goes through so fast into your digestion. Okay. Now, when we talk about like whole foods versus that, right? You have to think of it like is kind of like putting some kind of like a pepper shaker, okay? Say everything in the pepper shaker is the whole food, right? And it doesn't just fall through the cover at the bottom. You have to twist it and grind it, and it takes time, to get to really get it all out of the shaker, right? Because you're grinding it, all right? And that grinding is like in a sense like what your body is doing with the whole food. It's because it has more fiber, it's got more density to it, and it takes a lot more to get it through the filter. So you got to think of it like that, like the processed foods are like water. Like if you filled a pepper shaker, you wouldn't do it, but if you filled it with water and like tipped it upside down, the water would just like pour out of the holes, right? Because it wouldn't need to be grinded because it goes through too easily and there's nothing really there. But when you got to grind it, right? That's why it burns more calories with the whole foods, and it while also absorbing more nutrition from all that. All right, it's a little bit more work. It burns more calories, but you get more out of it. Kind of like everything in life, right? The more work, the better you get out of it, right? So let's go with that. All right, guys. So inflammatory ingredients in processed foods. Okay. Now we're talking about things like high fructose corn syrup, which basically spikes your insulin and promotes fat gain. Okay, like refined carbs, like white breads, white pasta, white rice, and basically it's stripped of fiber and nutrients, causing blood sugar spikes. All right, we don't want that. Then we got processed meats. We're talking like bacon, hot dogs, sausages, things like that. They're packed with nitrates and other chemicals linked to chronic inflammation. So we have to watch out for that. Okay. Seed oils. Okay. Corn oil, soybean bean oil. I can't talk. God help me. Sorry. Soybean oil, canola oil, vegetable oil. They're high in omega-6 fatty acids, which actually are pro-inflammatory. Okay, we don't want too much of that. We do need a little bit, but we don't. It shouldn't be more than the omega-3s. Okay. Trans fats. We're talking things like found in pizzas, packaged goods. It's just one of the culprits in systemic inflammation. All right. Artificial sweeteners. Now, there's a little bit of a thing on this in the fitness world. They are used, to help people lose weight. I'm a little bit against them, but sometimes they help. When someone's really having trouble. So we'll just kind of say that that's not good for you, but it does have a purpose in certain situations. All right. So we know fast and fried foods really bad. They have a lot of processed oils, trans fats, refined carbs. We're talking not good. Okay. And then we got like highly processed like snack foods like chips, cookies, cakes, full of preservatives, additives. This is all that filler stuff, guys, that I talked about. Empty calories, nothing good for you. All right. So just think of it like that for the inflammatory part. And, just realize those foods are just not helping you. Okay. So, all right. Oh, here's the fun one. I've been waiting for this, dude. The other stuff is boring for me. All right. But it's good for you because you guys got to learn stuff. So, all right. PEDs. Here's the fun. All right. So, testosterone. So, as you know, this is like the male hormone. It's really the base of like all cycles. Okay. You start with this. It's because it's going to be your first replacement that you would use if you're going to cycle. And, it's kind of like the king in a sense because it's a bioidentical hormone, meaning your body's used to it, and you can use a lot of it because your body knows what to do with it. Okay, it's very used to it, so it's not going to be like a foreign, item really messing with your immune system, so to speak. It produces, DHT and estrogen, and that's why bodybuilders make sure they have a good amount of that in their cycle because estrogen in men does have health benefits and protective benefits, and we don't want to take something that's going to stop our testosterone production or shut it off and not have some form of testosterone in there, so to speak, to make sure we're supplementing it. Because when you take stuff, your own body naturally shuts down. Okay. All right. So, and testosterone can be run fairly high, and it's very safe. And, you can utilize things like to control estrogen if you're a person that's more of a converter, like an aromasin. It's like a arimidex or aromasin. They kind of blunt the production of testosterone turning into estrogen in the male body, and so it can keep it in the healthy range, but not overdoing it, so to speak, from the increase of dosage, if that makes sense. So I guess I'll touch on DECA next. DECA is another good builder. It's a wet compound, I would call it. A lot of people hold some water on it. As you saw in probably my picture in one of the displays, it's a little bit more bloated look. It is definitely something that is very person specific in what they're looking to do. It's not necessarily the needed compound, but it has quality benefits in men because it can help with joint lubrication, and it has there's some therapeutic properties to it and anti-inflammatory properties to it. It's a 19-nor compound, basically, and it's used by a lot of pros and athletes for performance and lifting because it makes you hold a little bit of water, which helps move mass, basically, when you're trying to push heavier weights in the gym. It's not for everybody. Some people get a little moody on it. I don't know how to explain it, but some people are fine. Some people, it bothers them a little bit. It really is down to the person. Like, I never had problems with anything. I'm like a tank. Like, I can even do trends. I don't even know if I listed it here because I don't want to go there yet with people. But you know, it's definitely a great lifting compound that can really push some weight, and you can kind of go. It's a bioidentical hormone, actually, just like testosterone. It's made in the body. It's just in a very smaller amount. So this would be obviously a non, it'd be an enormous amount compared to what's found in the body, but it's definitely a strong compound for building muscle. Now, my favorite here is probably primobolan. I love primobolan. It's a beautiful compound for men. It will give you this like, God, I love it. It gives you like a rounded, tight look. I think they call it like the Wolverine look. I don't know, but it just makes the pictures I showed you of myself, I was on it. It gives you like this nice shape to you, and it's very low in side effects. It's a mint compound. It's expensive, but it gives you like this nice look to it. So you can really, and you can use a lot of it, even though it usually comes in a lower milligram per ml amount. So you have to take a lot of it in a sense to really get to the dosage that would help a person. There's like a threshold on things like where you need to be with each compound for it to really be officially showing its characteristics, so to speak. And Primo is the one thing that makes people just look amazing, like over time. If you stay on it at the right dose, you will have a nice crisp look to your body. Your muscle shapes look nice. Your skin, I think it improves your skin, to be honest with you. But everything just looks good. Primo is like a beauty compound for men, in my opinion. Okay, it definitely it's a very aesthetically nice looking component. Now, Masteron is very similar to Primobolan, although I still think Primobolan is king. I think Masteron is also a very good builder. And one thing about Primo, it doesn't convert to estrogen. You don't have to worry about any estrogen side effects, and same with Masteron because they're DHTs. And Masteron is basically like a really clean compound. It's also really good at increasing men's like sex drive. So if like you go on Masteron, your wife is happy, dude. I'm just gonna tell you right now, because it affects like that a part of your like a thing in your brain that again it gives you a boost. So yeah, if you want to have a good sex drive, Masteron is great for that. Okay, and then Equipoise is like, oh, and Masteron's kind of like also, sorry, excuse me. Masteron is a bit of a it's kind of like Primo. It's usually used. It's used now. Like the science has kind of changed in the bodybuilder mentality. Before, you had to be like low body fat, and it would give you like this polished end look. But now, people are adding it on top of their tests to really just fill in the milligram dosage, so that because you have to be. It's really about the total milligrams you take of all this stuff that really decides the results. It's just they all work a little bit differently, and they all have different side effect profiles. So it's really about finding the right amount of testosterone so you have healthy estrogen, and then building that with the right compounds that also have the right need. So if you're trying to look clean and cut, you wouldn't put Deca in there so much. You'd probably do Master on a Primo. So there's a bit of it has to do with like the goal. Like, are we trying to put size on and not look crisp, or are we trying to look crisp and have a certain look? So you mix things in ratios and portions based on your tolerance to them, how they affect the look that you have, and how much you need. Okay, so it's kind of like all over the place, but that's the way to put it. And Equipoise is kind of like testosterone, but a stripped down version of it. It does convert to estrogen. It does not convert heavily. It's a very long acting compound. It's like I think it's like 3 to 4 weeks half life. It's a slow burner. You got to be on it for a while, and excuse me, and but when it shines, it shines. It just takes a little time. You got to be on for a bit. Usually after the second month, you start kind of seeing it because it takes a while to build up in your system. It's basically a lean bulking compound. It's kind of like Masteron, but not Masteron. It's a little bit more, it's kind of like the halfway point between Masteron and Test, if that makes any sense. It's a dry, it's not like Deca where it puts a lot of water on you. And it's just a really good clean builder. Although it can lower your estrogen, so you might have to watch that. Like certain DHTs and in this particular compound have a tendency to lower your estrogen, but you can fix that by either increasing your test or lowering the DHTs. So now that I touched on that, let's go to the orals. So this right here, we'll say Anadrol 50, excuse me. So Anadrol 50 is basically, I really like this stuff, okay, guys? So it's a lot of power lifters use it. It doesn't really have an estrogenic look to it so much. It kind of holds water in the muscle more than outside the muscle, but it does affect, you know, certain receptors. So we do have, it doesn't really, I've never heard of anyone really getting issues with it. It does tend to kill the appetite after being on it too long. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, you have to monitor yourself on how it affects your appetite, because if you can't eat, you can't grow. All right. So, but it puts a ton of strength in you. And a lot of people love this stuff. Anavar is really cool. It's kind of like the stripped down version of Anadrol, but a little bit different. It's very versatile, this one. It's not really for a particular purpose, in my opinion. It's for just to fill in the blank, and it can do anything. It can make you lose weight. It can make you gain weight. Depends what you're doing with your food. It's very healthy for you compared to other orals. It's actually broken down from the kidneys instead of the liver, and not necessarily in a bad way. A lot of women use Anavar, you know, at lower doses, but I don't really encourage it because I don't trust, you know, women to use it properly. So, unless really supervised carefully. But I'll tell you this, every woman influencer out there who's on Instagram or any type of platform is probably using it to fake their, you know, toneness and muscular look that they're probably providing with. So Winstrol. Now, Winstrol was really cool, but I didn't get into it till like a little bit later. I was more into like the Anadrol and D-ball, but I didn't list D-ball here because no one's really using it anymore. They're more moving on to Anadrol for the bigger results that it gives. But Winstrol is really cool. You can use it in the, it has a very good partitioning effect, and it gives you a nice hard, clean look. Your muscles, you know, get great pumps on this stuff. I really like it, and you know, I use it. I use it when I feel like it, for a couple weeks on end, and I play around with it, and I love it, especially during the summer. You know, and it's a DHT basically. Anavar, actually, Anadrol, Anavar, and Winstrol, they last about 8 hours in the body for their half-life. So if it's whatever it's dosed at, it's going to be half of that dose for another 8 hours later, and then another half until it's like gone. So, okay, now I'm going to share for the men and the women. And my God, is my voice going? Hold on. So, clenbuterol. Clenbuterol is a tool. Now, these are more like luxury items, everything here, except for growth hormone. Growth hormone is freaking amazing stuff if you get good quality things, okay? So, let's talk about this. So, clenbuterol has been used for quite some time by men and women. It's basically a fat burner. You know, I'll just keep it simple for the most part. You would start at a minimum amount and then move up to a certain amount that you can handle. And it's very effective. You usually do like a couple weeks on, a few weeks off, so that you don't get too used to it. And it's a great way to just really accelerate the process if you're trying to burn fat. It's a strong compound, not like in a sense of like, you know, it's going to hurt you. Like if you do it right, it's fairly safe, but it's a very effective compound when it comes to alleviating some of that stress of trying to get the fat off, because it really does help. So, all right. So let's talk on growth hormone. Oh my God, this thing's like, there's too many things that really go over with it, but it's probably the best thing you can really do. And if you actually take it and can afford it, you don't have to go so crazy on the other stuff, because it's like you can think of it as like a 30% increase buffer on everything else. It does everything, at certain dosages, it has different effects, but you can say it burns fat. It increases God, your skin, it just makes everything better. You lose more weight on it, you recover better on it, you get better sleep on it. Like if you ever take it, but usually people take it before bed now. That's like kind of the new gig. And you take it before bed, you get a deeper sleep on it, you wake up feeling a lot better on it. And it's great for women, and they don't even have to take as much as men to really get what they're looking for out of it. And it's a real amazing compound. I think it's great. I would recommend everybody who can get it, use it. Okay. And it's just one of those things that it's, the thing before, especially in the bodybuilding field, they used to go, you have to wait till you're X amount of size and 20 certain age. And no, the sooner you can get on it, the better. I mean, literally. GLP-1s, the new hype on the market. So you might have heard of Ozempic. That's basically what this is, or semaglutide, I think is the other name for it. But it's not the most optimal one. Okay. There's three. There's Ozempic, retatrutide, and tirzepatide. I think that's how you say it. And they all have a different ranking, but retatrutide has been kind of the king of the best for these when it comes to burning fat and helping with weight loss. So it controls appetite, blood glucose, improves insulin sensitivity, supports fat loss. It may reduce fatty liver. All the GLP-1s are being really proven to help with the fatty liver, and that's been like a big problem in our country, especially Ozempic. But this one is the best one probably for fat burning. Okay, all the coaches that I talk to, everybody who's kind of come to the same conclusion on it. And then we have insulin. Now, insulin's a very unique topic, because there's people who are diabetic that need it, and then there are bodybuilders who use it to help with their nutrient partitioning. So there's a lot of use in this for helping a bodybuilder make their food work better for them, okay? And there's a lot of use in it for kind of when a person has to eat like a lot of food for a very long, extended amount of time, it can really, really put a burden on the pancreas. And the idea is that when you do add an insulin in, it kind of takes the pressure off your pancreas to really keep doing what it's doing, and kind of says, we got enough. You can take a break, dude. Go take a nap. And it kind of preserves your pancreas when you're eating a lot of food, when you're trying to get the lifts in, to really get the size on. I've been using insulin for a long time now, and I love it. I just use it right, and I'm not crazy with it. And that whole thing about like you're gonna flop around like a fish is kind of, if you know what you're doing, it's a big joke. I know it's kind of scary to a lot of people, but trust me, there's the only two I would ever trust is like Atlantis or a Humalog, because it's so easy to figure out. The problem is people don't know how to measure this stuff right. So, oh yeah. Did I touch on everything here? Yeah, I think I did. So my guarantee to you, oh boy. So you're going to get expert guidance. I really know what I'm doing. Forgive me if I stumbled a little in this, because I'm telling you it was a long talk, but I know what I'm doing. So, okay. So yeah, you get expert guidance. I'm going to really show you like the truth and everything. There's going to be no secrets. You'll have all the knowledge being brought to you, and you'll definitely see the results, because you saw my pictures. I'm a pretty straightforward guy. You know, back in the day, I would have been like hush hush about like what I do and all this stuff, but now I don't even care. I just want to help people. I want people to feel good and you know, get what they're looking for. So, because after I started doing this, it really brought me a lot of happiness. So that's why I'm doing this. Okay. So, expert guidance. I'll deploy all my knowledge and expertise to help you transform your body. You'll get step-by-step support. I'll walk alongside you, sorry, through every phase of your fitness journey, you know, and we'll make sure that you get there. Okay. So results promised to you. Okay. And if you follow my program without deviation and don't see results, I'll work with you until you do. But we both know I know what I'm doing. So let's get this done. All right, let's move on. All right. So who is this for? I just want to remind people, because this is a very serious gig. You know, it's not like a jokish program. It's something that I do want people to take very serious. We're trying to improve ourselves, guys. All right, I'm going to get serious now. So this program is designed for individuals seeking comprehensive transformations through nutrition guidance, workout optimization, and performance. Okay. Performance enhancement, excuse me. This program is perfect for people who want to transform physically, burn fat, build lean muscle, okay, achieve significant weight loss, 10 to 50 plus pounds, because it doesn't really matter, because the science doesn't change, okay, enhance overall appearance and attractiveness, and grow mentally, okay. We want to be better people in life. We're not trying to, you know, hurt people in this process by belittling them, okay. We're not trying to, you know, we're trying to be the best of ourselves for us, okay? It's about personal improvement. So develop lasting self-discipline. Like, I'm hoping that when you finally finish the program, you really understand that this is what it really takes to get there and what's required of you, okay? We're going to rebuild your confidence and self-image, okay? We already talked about that. We're going to transform your mindset around fitness, okay? Because you've probably been in disbelief, some of you, or you don't really get it, or, you know, understand what it really takes about fitness, okay? So we're going to stay motivated and inspired, because that's what we do here. We make sure that we're high achievers and we don't let things deviate us, right? I love that word now. And, you know, one of my favorite, if I can talk right, one of my favorite things that I've actually read is that everything you want is on the other side of fear, okay? And, you know, fear stops us in our tracks with, you know, self-image, you know, moving forward in life, you know, not getting the progress we think we can get. And this is a program that fear doesn't exist when you do this program. We go through this, and we're on a journey together to get you past any obstacle. And we're really just trying to make you grow as a person, okay? So overcome challenges. We're going to break through fitness plateaus, find success after previous failures. All right, this is going to spark, you know, new beliefs in you, okay? We're going to address low energy and vitality issues, including sex drive for the men. Like I said, guys, a little TRT, you'll be back in the game with our, trust me. All right, so learn about performance enhancement options, and these are luxury items, okay? It's not needed to lose the weight, it's, or to, you know, to really get a decent looking physique. But if you really want to look like a, you know, enhanced person, there's no way around it. You're going to have to get used to doing some stuff that you might not be comfortable with at first, okay? So it's there. It doesn't have to be. There are some lighter things you can do in the male and female section that I listed. From everyone can pretty much do that pretty easily, I would say. It's when we get to the anabolics, there's a little bit more of a game plan there, and it's a whole different type of situation that we're focused on. Okay, and we're going to move forward from past difficulties and experiences. Okay, so, you know, maybe you had a difficult past that's been holding you back. And what you got to understand here, guys, is that this is about destroying yourself and rebuilding yourself. It's not about continuing where you left off. Okay. It's like the past is gone. You say goodbye to it in this program, and it's all about rebuilding and reprogramming. And whatever was hindering you in the past doesn't exist anymore, because you will have a new outlook on your body and way of thinking. And it's really important to me that you get what you want. Okay. So if you're ready to commit to the process and dedicate yourself to transformation, this program provides structure, guidance, and support you need to succeed where other approaches have failed you, okay? Because we're not going to fool around, okay? Now, to start your transformation, okay? All right? If this is really for you, okay, what you need to do is you got to book a call with me, and we'll see if you're a good fit. I'll interview you basically, and you'll be, ask questions, and you can ask me questions, and we're really going to go over everything together. And it's just to see like if we're on the same page, okay? Because I don't work with everybody, okay? I know everybody wants help, but there's some people that have to qualify in a sense where they understand that this is a program that requires guidance and the right type of person for it, okay? And, we can't have someone doing certain things in the program that with a person who I feel is either reckless or, just not qualified for it. So we will have a meet through Zoom call, and hopefully we can come to an agreement and then help you out and get you going. So you'll get a personalized plan from me. Like I said, you'll get the custom program. We'll have a lot of interaction and communication, and you'll achieve your results with the guidance and with the knowledge I have. And, you saw the guy, I had Omar there. He was over 200. He got down to 170. He's looking like a sharp guy. I think he has a girlfriend now. So, it happens, okay? There are regular people every day who just have been in doubt or in a dark place, or, or just want to improve. And, that's what this is about. It's about improving. It's not about, exactly where you are at in your fitness. It's about where you are at right now and then getting to a place you want to be exactly. So my 100% guarantee is if you follow my program without deviation, I'll work with you until you succeed. So that's how it goes. All right. And you have my Calendly link. And on my Instagram profile, I may update it. So if you watch this, you may get a different link there at some point down in the future, but it'll be there. Okay, so you'll be able to find it. Or if you're on my page, on my website, you'll be able to book through there. Okay, so you'll be able to get a hold of me one way or the other. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. And forgive me if I left anything out, or I just, forgot to say something, because it was a long, drawn-out video for me. But I really want to help you. So if this is for you, make sure you get in contact with me, and I'll be happy to help you.